How's it going, guys? It's Ronn Nicolli here with Creative Conversations. We're here today with Johnny Jover. Johnny, how's it going today?
Good, brother, man. Thanks for having me.
Perfect, man. We've been doing a series of these conversations, but I'm excited to be speaking to you today because you kind of you play in so many areas. There's a lot of dots on the board, and part of this is bringing these conversations together to obviously inspire and show creativity, and honestly, you're in a lot of different fields of creativity, from music to fashion to the curation you're doing with the Hotel Belmont. So it's like there's a lot of different areas that you're kind of working in, and it's like it feels like there's a 24-hour a day creative flow going with you. So very excited about having this talk with you today, and again excited that you're being part of this whole series with us.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to be able to self-reflect once in a while and talk about the things that you're doing, because you get caught up in it when you're just going nonstop. So it's nice to take a step back and have a discussion about it. So thank you for having me on here.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the toughest things as you're going through the process of succeeding is sometimes taking a pause and reflecting on your success. I think a lot of times we walk through every day, and obviously in our minds, we're always thinking what's next, and sometimes we don't really stop and get the opportunity, to your point, to reflect on the accomplishments. And obviously when I look at, the accomplishments that you've succeeded, being very, very early in your life at this point, it really is impressive and amazing. So really excited to have you on today and to kind of walk through kind of all these different verticals that really make who you are or help identify the things that you have done. I kind of want to start with the fashion side of it. And again, we can lead and kind of take this flow in from fashion to music to talking about the Glass Petals project. But I just want to start with the fashion. What got you involved in fashion?
Well, I'm the youngest brother. I'm the youngest of four brothers. So, I've always been the type of observer, and it's seeing what my brothers are doing, stealing their clothes, piecing the things I have and what they have. And I've always just been such a fan of subcultures. And when I was younger, I got heavily into skateboarding, and I'll be honest, I wasn't the best, but I just loved the culture. And then as I grew up, fell in love with music, and then just those little subcultures that went along with everything and the style and everything. So, from what I can remember, I used to lay out my clothing on the ground before school and stuff like that. So I've always had a knack for just making things look perfect, and especially clothing. How I got introduced to the fashion industry, I have a bachelor's in industrial design. So I went to college for design, and then in my third year, I got an opportunity to just pack all my things up, move down to LA, and work for a designer by the name of Garcia and his brand On Noir and his team. So I kind of just went down there on a risk on myself and just put my head down and just worked, stayed quiet, just grinded away, which eventually led into a junior designer role. So I continued to work with them, and then it got to the point where I felt like it was time to step out on my own and just do myself and just put it on me. So I started a brand, 6 Week Residency, and yeah, we're one season in. There's been not quite a bit, but amount of success that I should be proud of. And it's just, again, like I said, it's about taking a step back and realizing it, but that's how I got into it, essentially.
Now, growing up, I remember you mentioning that your family spent kind of time between, it was Barcelona and Vancouver, but then you guys kind of settled into Vancouver. Yeah. Obviously, I think we from time to time, there's a lot of influences that come over from the European culture, and obviously being kind of raised in it. When you're doing any type of design, is there anything that you're taking from kind of the heritage of Barcelona, or anything that's inspiring you from even your kind of roots of growing up?
Yeah, there's one particular artist from Barcelona, which he's quite prominent throughout the city, is Gaudi, and he has the Sagrada Familia, and there's a lot of other things that he's designed. But to me, the story behind him is just it's the honesty behind it, and it's the storytelling, and I try to influence that in all of my designs, even in the music, fashion. But to me, the most important thing is honesty, and it's just telling a story with honesty and just encapsulating all that into one story, essentially, just behind, and this with intention and just pure honesty. And I try to do that with everything, just the way that I live my life, the people I surround myself, and just who I am as a person. And I think it's that's the language that my brand speaks, and that's the language me as an artist speaks.
2016, you go out to LA, and you're getting to be part of Rob Garcia. You're working with Rob Garcia. You're working with N Noir, and I mean that N Noir was probably one of the most recognized brands at that point. I mean, they were doing. He was recognized in GQ magazine. I mean, from the club side, every DJ was wearing it. I remember it like they're wearing the jeans. You're seeing it at Barney's. So you're walking into this, and what did that feel like? Obviously, to have that opportunity, because I mean, Rob was on fire at that point. So you're walking into that. What was that feeling? I mean, again, you're taking a risk. You're going to LA. You're picking up your life, and what was that like?
Honestly, it was kind of a familiar feeling being the youngest of 4 older brothers. So I kind of knew how to play it, where it's just like you kind of don't say much, and you kind of just when the spotlight's on you step out into it, and then you do what you got to do, and that's it. So obviously it was a little bit nerve-wracking, but at the same time it was a familiar space, because like I mean, when I was like when I just got to high school, my older brother's friends would come pick me up from a party, drag me to theirs, and I'd just be like this young kid at this like grade 12 party. So it was kind of familiar, but it was fun. And like you said, like I was hanging around, like I was in the bubble. And like when I told them like I got to go back, they were like, "What are you doing, Jover? Like why? Like you have so much momentum right now." I was like, I got knots that I have to finish tying off over there, but I'll figure out a way to continue to work and come back and forth. And I did. And I mean, we worked for another 2.5 years together, and we still work on things together when the timing's right. But it was fun, man. Like I'd never felt so like LA's crazy because there's so many pockets. Like if you're this type of person, there's a pocket for you where you fit. And I felt like pretty at home in Los Angeles, which was nice, which was a good feeling, which I haven't really felt too much coming, bouncing back and forth through Europe and coming here, and just, I mean, the people are different, right? And there I kind of felt like I felt pretty good there, so it was fun, dude. Like super fun.
Now you come back to Vancouver. You continue to work with the N Noir brand. You continue to work with Rob. At what point did you decide to kind of branch off and do 6 Week Residency?
On my birthday, actually. So before 6 Week Residency, I wanted to do the luxury thing. So I was sampling in LA, I was doing stuff in Italy, and I kind of had like the rug pulled out from my feet at a point in life, and I kind of just went back to square zero, and I had to kind of essentially restart everything. So I got to the point where like, okay, that's not feasible right now, because there's a lot of money that goes behind luxury, and to do it by yourself, you got to have essentially money behind you. And like, I come from very humble home, so it just wasn't in my cards, essentially. So I kind of stepped back, but I just knew I needed to continue to create. So I was just like, I could just make T-shirts. You know what I mean? Like I could just do something. So I kind of just kept the fashion thing going. And I had a friend approach me he DJs around like in Vancouver, and he was like, "Yo, like, what are you doing? Like, what's happening with that clothing thing you were doing?" I'm like, I'm just kind of like retreating right now and getting ready for like the battle again, right? I'm just pulling my troops back. And he's like, "Show me it." I was like, "Okay, like sure, no problem. Like check it out." It's nice to talk about what you're doing, because a lot of the stuff happens behind the curtain. No one really sees it. So I show him, and he was just like, "Yo, dude, like I'm a mortgage broker. I'm very good at what I do, but like I need a passion project. Like I'm a creative, but like that's not the path I took. So he's like, I would love to be a part of this. So I was in a place where like I was really up for anything. So I was just like, okay, let's do it. Started looking into the industry, and we saw, again, like I was like, yo, this is the luxury thing that I'm doing. I have all these connections that I made throughout my time, like putting in the work, like being an intern and junior designer. So I know all these people. And then I kind of just like stood back and just looked at the industry and just looked at what people were doing. And I saw a hole at like the mid-tier price point where I felt lacked identity. Because you have all these brands, great brands like Nudie and all these like very like successful brands, but there's no face or story behind it, like that focuses on one individual, which what luxury does, and what these like awesome brands like Fear of God, like Ruigi, like Noir, they have this identity behind it. So I thought, why not offer this at a mid-tier price point for people that they love luxury, they love the storytelling, they love like the identity, but like they got a mortgage to pay, they got a kid, they got school to pay, like. So why not meet them halfway and provide them with a product that's honest, that's well made, attention to detail, it's all there, there's a story behind it, someone's life's attached to it, just at a reasonable price. So that's kind of where we got to with that.
Now, it's probably about 2 months ago you've done. Now you're in Fred Segal now, right? You did a deal with Fred Segal. How long that came out about? Was it about March, April that came around?
Yeah, but like honestly, I think May, like recent, super recent.
I mean that in itself is a huge accomplishment. Like obviously I've grown up. Like, I've been in Las Vegas now for 20 years, and obviously Fred Segal to me is just amazing. I mean, it has some of to me it's like the coolest brands live at Fred Segal. So to have that partnership and to have your line in Fred Segal to me is just an amazing thing. I mean, how did you feel when that came together? Because again, that's a huge accomplishment.
Honestly, like super surreal. I like it. Like it still kind of hasn't hit me. For that to be the first store that for like our introductory into the U.S. to me is just like, I thought that was gonna come down the road. So like, man, like the history on that alone is just like super cool, and to be able to like get in there so early it's a hell of a feeling. Yeah, I mean, I just hope it continues and does well, and like we get to stay in there for a while and it sells and they're happy and then I'm happy. But yeah, super, like again, it hasn't really like hit me. I'm the type of person too at the same time, like unless I see it in front of me and like it's happening, I'm like, okay, like.
Yeah, I was going to ask, have you gone to the website yet and seen it on the website?
Yeah, I have, yeah. But still, even then, like I need to see it, like I need to like be there and like stand in the store and be like, okay, like it's reality.
I mean, because I got to be honest, like obviously just getting to know you, I obviously went to the website and saw it, and honestly, it was just a cool feeling speaking to you prior to that, and then going on and seeing your line on the site. And again, Fred Segal's always had like a special place for me, because to me, I grew up in a small town, and then I came out to Vegas, and as I started going to LA on trips and seeing Fred Segal and going through the store, to me it was like the coolest, most eclectic brands like lived there. So then to go onto the website and see your line there was really amazing. So again, huge accomplishment on the fashion side, and I know that you probably obviously just kind of getting going with this brand. So that's really amazing.
Yeah, it's we're going, and it's just like, I'm just trying to stay right now. I'm just trying to stay afloat essentially, and just like there's so much that I want to do, and so like I'm just trying to hold the horses together and just like keep everything in line. But yeah, thank you, appreciate that.
This I think is a good segue, because when we talk about balance, right? You've got all this going on. You have right now. You have, in many people's minds, in my mind for sure, you have a successful career in fashion, but you're also doing music. And you've been doing music for a while, right? I mean, music's always been a passion also.
Yeah. I've been DJing for like 15 years at this point, like forever. It's essentially what allowed me to do, like, to get me where I am today. Like, I was DJing in a nightclub. I'd get home at like 4. I'd be in class the next day at 8, like 8 in the morning, like just like there. And, I was, and like, but it put me through college. It allowed me to move downtown and just, you know, like be here and like be in the like the nightclubs and stuff, like, and live this lifestyle. So it's like it's even led me to like here, like our mutual friend Jover, I met him through a nightclub, and like he always told me one thing to me that kind of stuck, and because like, you know, the nightlife, I'm sure you know this, the nightlife life is a different path from like the social norms essentially, and that's something that always kind of like made me question, like, am I doing the right thing? But he was like, listen, man, like the people you meet in a nightclub, it's essentially like a portal to every type of person. Because at one point, that person's going to go to a nightclub, and they maybe go once in their lifetime, but you have the opportunity to meet some of the most amazing people. So, yeah, I've been very blessed to be able to meet a lot of cool people and DJ, like make a living off music for 15, like some of the biggest stars don't even get that long of like a lifespan like in the industry. So very blessed, very like thankful for it. And yeah, so like even back in the day, like I was going to Vegas when I first turned 21, like alongside the guy who kind of took me under my wing and taught me the DJing realm, which like at the time it was the blow up of AM and like Kevin Scott and DJ Sprite and like the big, like, and I was just kind of there again as the young kid, just sitting there observing, watching, getting to play at like, obviously when no one's on the dance floor, but just still getting on this opportunity and getting the spotlight and then getting to do what I do once it's on me. So music has been a huge part. I pull tons of inspiration, like the storytelling in music is, I feel, what everyone is able to connect with. It's just people are able to attach their feelings to it, but it's huge, and it's something that's never going to go away with me. It's always going to be a part of me, and it's always going to be something that fuels who I am as a person.
Now, when we talk about music, on top of, again, you have many layers even on the music side, because you're DJing and you're playing clubs, you're playing venues, but now you also have another project that you're doing that's involving music.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, like I was DJing last night. Like it doesn't stop. But I was fortunate enough again to meet a very insanely talented producer from Vancouver as well, Felix Cartel. And again, like we just kind of clicked because we are similar people. We work in nightlife, we love music, and I think he respects the longevity of my career and like the passion. Like I never got as heavy into the production side of the music, where that's all he does essentially. And he tours it, of course. But I think why he was willing to work with me and start a group together, we have a group called Petals, which it's basically, we're just like, we want to bring club culture back to the nightlife, because for the last it got like the dance music scene got a little commercial, and we were just like, we just want to make straight club music. So I think he looked at me, he's just like, this guy's not in it because DJing's cool, it's because it's like hot right now. He's true about it. So yeah, we launched about a year ago. We've released on some of like the biggest labels already, like Spinning, Held Deep, Hexagon, Cascades label, Arcadia, so it's rolling too. But honestly, the way I kind of look at all of this is kind of like just like a sphere of creation, of like self-reflection, and just like the things that I'm passionate about, and just constantly just trying to create within that. So everything pulls it's all influenced by each other, and it's just kind of like a bubble of creation that I try to stay in and just like live within and just create within. It's kind of chaotic, but like I find like there's a little bit of beauty like creating within chaos. So yeah, never ending.
So I was going to say, we've touched on kind of two of the verticals. Now, on top of that, you actually took on a role as head of entertainment at a new boutique hotel in Vancouver as well.
Yeah.
So it's a Hotel Belmont, right?
Yeah. So they opened last May, and they kind of took the approach of opening something that's going to stand out in Vancouver, because it's a fun, beautiful city, but it's conservative, and it's hard to do things that stand out. But they did it, and they hired me. They approached me, and they were just like, listen, like, been in the industry, you've traveled, you've seen this, you've kind of been at the forefront of all like the things that you've done, and we want you to come aboard and kind of just curate the experience, the music, the people that are coming in here, the events, and it's been fun because it falls in like one of the beautiful things about industrial design is that it hits all the spectrum of design. It goes from like, you can design a steering wheel for a Ferrari, you can design a fork, and you can design like system layouts, so like how you maneuver through a hospital. So to me, I just saw it as a different design problem. I was like, okay, like how am I going to create an experience for someone that walks into this hotel and from front to back, as soon as they walk in and they leave. So it was challenging, but again, super fun, and it allowed me to pull from the things that I'm familiar with and the things that I feel comfortable with, and it was like, it's been nothing but success over there. I mean, considering what's going on right now, it's been a little bit slow, but super fun, and I was very like blessed to get that opportunity.
So to me, what's a normal day like for you? And I know days right now aren't really normal, but you know, with everything going on, how do you find time to balance? And then, you know, what I use the word recovery because I think recovery is an important word. When we look at the way, you know, a lot of times people will put recovery with physical fitness, but there is also a mental fitness, and there's a mental element to everything you're doing. You're having to go to a deep part of thought to pull out creativity and design. What's a day like for you, and how do you find time to relax and recover during this process?
Honestly, like, I don't think I relax like most people. Like a normal day for me is I'll wake up and I'll either go for a run, or I usually go like to the gym. As soon as I get up, go to the gym, and I walk. I walk a lot just because, again, it allows me to be in my head and just kind of like, that's how I relax, I guess. Like a lot of people like think, like I come off as kind of like standoffish, but I'm just quiet, and I just like, that's how I relax. I just like slow down mentally, and you'll see it like if like before DJ set, I get really low energy, and that's just kind of how I prepare and like relax before I have to go get super high energy. So I'll walk a lot, hit the gym, and then come home, and then honestly, I kind of just, whatever I'm feeling inside, if it's like, okay, I'm going to work on design or music, I get to kind of make that beautiful choice of what I'm feeling at that time, and I kind of go from there. And then honestly, I don't stop until about like 4 a.m. because as soon as I'm done all the home stuff, I usually have to go to a nightclub and work. So again, another way of relaxing for me that I find is just like engaging with people and just kind of being around like distortion, and I like just find some sort of way. I don't know, it's weird. I don't feel like I really relax like anyone normal, but I think I do it more mentally, if anything. Like I'm always moving. I'm either in a chair clicking and like designing, or like making music and bobbing around, or like in a nightclub or talking to people and stuff. So yeah.
Now, question I wanted to ask you. What did it feel like DJing one of your first shows? Like one of the first times you were DJing in front of a crowd? Because it's a question that comes up quite a bit. And again, you know, I like to think that there's always someone out there watching this, right? And again, sometimes it's not a point-to-point connection, but I'm hoping that they're hearing something in this interview that gives them the confidence to go out and chase their dream. And you know, if it's in fashion or music or wherever their passion lies. But you know, one of the important things is, you know, fear sometimes drives us back, right? There's the fear of failing. There's intimidation and fear that goes on walking into really any new situation. So if you can remember, what did it feel like before playing your first show?
I mean, the way that I look at that, like whenever I go into a situation and I'm starting to get nervous, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to be, like, self-doubt starts coming in. I like try to remove myself from it and look at it and be like, listen, dude, like the feelings that you're feeling right now are the feelings of being alive. So like embrace them. Like nervousness is like, you know what I mean? Like use that, like flip it. And I do that a lot with design too. It's like I'll look at these tragic things that happen within my life or situations that I've been involved with, and I try to flip it into a positive view. So like have fun, man. Like the feelings of nervousness that's like you're alive, and like enjoy it and like ride off of it, because that's gonna put a fire on you to do more than you thought you could. I mean, and then as for like my first, I've literally had the worst things happen to me DJing. Like one of the first times, like my buddy was like, "All right, like you can start, like go ahead DJ." I'm like, "Dude, it's like 1:00." He's like, "No, you're good, man. You're ready." I was like, "Okay." And a girl ripped down the entire they were in the middle of building a new DJ booth, so they had like a scaffolding type DJ booth, and this was a big club. It's probably like a 400-person club, but it was the time when DJ booths started being the focal point of nightclubs. So they were moving it from up top in a corner down to the main floor, and it was like a temporary DJ booth, and the chick ripped down the entire thing. We had like 4 turntables flip over, 2 laptops, monitor speakers, our like Blackberries on the other side of the nightclub. So the worst things have happened, so like that's not gonna happen to most people. So just have fun with it, man. Like just dance with the music, and like remember that you're there to like show people a good time. So have fun, essentially.
Now, as part of this series, you're actually gonna do a recorded or a live set for us.
Yeah.
What kind of music are we gonna hear there? Like, and again, you know, the curation itself is we want the music to express your style. So what kind of feeling are we gonna hear from the music? What kind of story are you gonna take us on? I'm
still trying to decide what route I want to take, because like I would love to do the artist thing, but honestly, like just with my history with Vegas and going there when I was younger and just starting out to DJ, and that open format is like, if you can get that style down, like you're making everybody in the room having fun at one point. So I think that's what I'm gonna kind of do, kind of like a tribute to like the Kevin Scotts, the AMs, the DJ Sprites, like all those dudes. So I think I'm gonna dig through my crates from back in the day and do kind of like a tribute set, like a Vegas tribute set, which I think is gonna be super fun. I think like quite nostalgic for some of the dudes, right? So
that's really, really amazing.
Yeah.
You know, what wanted to ask you, and if you know, I pose this question in 2 ways. You know, you've had a great path in your life, and I'm assuming by everything going on, you're going to even have more success. You know, if you could look back and say anything to your younger self, or someone watching right now from home who's going to see this, and is at that decision point in their life of making that move or making a fearful jump, like what advice would you give them?
I mean, I don't want to be cliche and pull a Nike quote, but like just do it, man. Like if you care enough and you believe in it and it's like honest to you, just like go with it, man. Like nothing too bad is gonna happen. Like you're just gonna look back and be like, wow, I really tried something that I loved, and like you'll never hate yourself for that. You'll never have a regret. It's the type of things at the end of the day when you're closing your eyes, you're like, dang, I wish I did that, is what's gonna haunt you. So just try it. Why not? You can always turn back and go another way. Just try it. Don't be scared.
As we close out this interview, is there anything that you want to say? Any closing statements?
No, I mean, I think I said it, kind of poured it out quite a bit, but I mean, never be scared to play the cards you have, and if you don't feel comfortable with them, continue to bluff. That's what I would say.
Perfect. Again, I appreciate you being part of this series with us. Obviously, I know, you know, we're probably going to speak a lot more. I know that we're already talking about a few different kind of opportunities in Vegas. So excited that I got to meet you. Obviously, you mentioned Tim, great connector, probably one of the greatest connectors I know. And obviously, I'm super excited he actually was able to connect the 2 of us. So thank you again for being part of this.
Thank you, my man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
My brother, have a good day.
You too, man. Peace.